Welcome back to the Daily Threat, your go-to source for the latest cybersecurity news and insights. Today we have a jam-packed episode filled with critical stories that could impact businesses and individuals alike. But before we dive in, a quick reminder to subscribe to the Daily Threat and stay updated on the ever-evolving world of cybersecurity. This episode is brought to you by QIT Solutions, your partner in safeguarding your digital assets. Our first headline comes from Krebs on Security and centers around a joint effort by tech giants Adobe, Apple, Google, and Microsoft to patch a series of zero-day vulnerabilities. Zero days are especially dangerous because they are unknown to software vendors and are actively being exploited by cybercriminals before a fix is available. These vulnerabilities affected a range of software and devices, making this a widespread and critical issue. The attackers gained access by exploiting these zero days, which means they had a head start on exploiting systems before the companies even knew about the vulnerabilities. Now, let's dive into the specifics of these attacks. Adobe. The attackers targeted Adobe products, including Adobe Reader, Acrobat, and Flash Player. They used malicious PDF files and Flash content embedded in websites to compromise user devices. Apple had vulnerabilities in its iOS and macOS systems. The attackers utilized malicious applications and email attachments to compromise iPhones, iPads, and Mac computers. Google's Android operating system faced threats through infected apps downloaded from third-party app stores. Users who sideloaded apps were especially vulnerable. Microsoft. The attackers exploited a vulnerability in Microsoft Windows, allowing them to execute malicious code on victim machines. This could lead to complete control over compromised systems. These attacks pose significant risks to businesses, including data breaches, financial losses, and reputational damage. Companies relying on these software products must act quickly to patch their systems and educate employees about the potential threats. Recommendations and best practices. Patch promptly. Ensure all software and devices are updated with the latest security patches. User training. Educate employees about the dangers of opening unknown attachments or downloading apps from unofficial sources. Multi-factor authentication. Implement multi-factor authentication to add an extra layer of security to your systems. Our next story from Bleeping Computer focuses on Mozilla, the creator of popular web browser Firefox and email client Thunderbird. Mozilla recently released patches to address a zero-day vulnerability actively exploited in attacks. The vulnerability in question allowed attackers to execute arbitrary code on victims' devices. This means they could potentially take control of your computer by simply visiting a malicious website or opening a compromised email. The attackers leveraged malicious websites and emails to deliver their payload. Victims who clicked on malicious links or opened compromised emails were at risk. Risks to businesses. Data leakage. Sensitive data could be exposed. Malware infections. Devices could become part of botnets or infected with ransomware. Financial loss. Businesses may suffer downtime, litigation, or regulatory fines. Recommendations and best practices. Regular updates. Ensure Firefox and Thunderbird are updated promptly. Email security. Use robust email filtering and scanning solutions. Web browsing best practices. Encourage employees to be cautious online, avoid clicking on suspicious links, and report any unusual emails. Our final story, from Dark Reading, revolves around the increasing importance of cybersecurity for medical devices. Federal mandates are now taking a serious stance on this issue. Medical devices, such as pacemakers and insulin pumps, are becoming more interconnected and reliant on software. While this can improve patient care, it also opens up new vulnerabilities. Attackers could potentially compromise these devices, leading to life-threatening situations. Patient safety. Compromised medical devices can put lives at risk. Legal consequences. Non-compliance with federal mandates can lead to hefty fines and legal trouble for healthcare providers and manufacturers. The government is taking cybersecurity in the medical industry seriously. Compliance with federal mandates is essential for healthcare providers and manufacturers. These mandates require rigorous security measures to protect patients and data. Recommendations and best practices. Compliance. Ensure that your organization complies with all federal mandates related to medical device cybersecurity. Risk assessments. Regularly assess and update your risk assessment processes. Vendor accountability. Hold medical device manufacturers accountable for security flaws. In conclusion, the world of cybersecurity is ever evolving, and staying informed is the first line of defense. Be vigilant, patch your systems, educate your employees, and comply with federal mandates where applicable. Don't forget to subscribe to the Daily Threat for regular updates on the latest cybersecurity threats and best practices. This episode was brought to you by QIT Solutions, your partner in securing your digital assets. Thank you for joining us today, and remember, in the digital age, the daily threat is real, but so are the solutions. Stay safe out there.